All right, so I'm outside of a 2020 Honda CRV. This is the EX-L model, so this is your third model up. If you were saying to yourself, I want a CRV, but I want to make sure it has leather, I want powered seats on both sides, I want an auto-dimming mirror, and I wanted a powered tailgate, well, this would be the CRV you want. If you're curious what it adds from the model below that, which would be the EX, it's those things I just mentioned. Leather interior, powered tailgate, powered seat on both sides. So EX has powered seat on the driver's, not the passenger, and then an auto dimming mirror. So that's what the extra $2,000 is getting you if you're looking at an EX to EX-L jump. So exterior wise of the car, a little bit different layout as far as the wheel pattern goes compared to some of the others. Body colored as far as these go and your mirrors go. So that's always going to be like that unless you're in the base model. It does have a moonroof up top, so I'll point that out. When you move around to the front, 190 horsepower under the hood, 1.5 liter turbo engine with a CVT transmission. It's been the same for a few years now. As far as what's in the car, LED daytime running lights and then halogen beams as far as your headlights. You do have fog lights down here. The front grille is going to look the same no matter what CRV you're in, so nothing's going to change other than a base model wouldn't have the fog lights. So not a big grille change or anything different if you're climbing or going down models. The car does have remote start and keyless entry, so that is what you're going to see here, which I'll show you here in just a minute, but I'm going to walk my way around to the back first, and I'm going to press this button so that we can open the tailgate and show you a couple things. Now, if you're buying this model, it does come with a powered tailgate, but let's say you want the sensor like the Touring has where you can just throw your foot underneath it. Honda offers it as an accessory. Don't know that you need it, but know that it's available to you if you want it. Thing I will point out though is if you're getting a powered tailgate, a lot of people I would talk to would say, hey, is this adjustable because my garage isn't this tall or I have stuff that hangs down? Yes. How to do so? Pull it to the height you want, press and hold. Keep holding. You'll hear 2 beeps. Double beep, now it's set to that height. So when I open and close it, that's the height it'll be set to. So that's how you adjust it as far as that goes. So not hard to do, you just have to know how to do it. In the back, I've got my carpet floor mats, which come standard in the car. I've got a jack along with my full diameter spare down here. So full height as far as the wheel goes, not full depth. So it's bigger than a donut and it's not a tire repair kit, which is definitely nice to have. So right now you can see I have a lip set up in here to where I could have stuff that won't, kind of roll around too much. I can lift this and set it to where it's flush. So that way if I need to fold down the seats and have a flat space, I can. Now, I've got handles right here that I can throw the back seats down with. So all I got to do is pull them and it'll lay them down. I'll have to fix that one here in a second just because I have the seat pushed pretty far back because I was in it. This is removable, and what this is this is just your privacy deal that you can pull. So if I want to hide my belongings so you can't see through the window, which is also tinted, comes tinted from the manufacturer. So this is just kind of overkill when it comes to that, but you have it available to you. So, all right, let me throw these back in here. Press this to close it, and then I will show you the second row. Your backup camera is right here in case you're wondering where it is. You do have a windshield wiper blade on the back. That's standard EX, actually I think in all models. And you can control it off the stock in the front, which I'll show you here shortly. Capless as far as this goes. So let's pop the car open and I want to show you a couple things. So I'm going to pop that open, which is right here, and your hood releases right there. The reason I say this is because you'll notice it's capless now. It has a valve that presses out. So this is great for you don't accidentally leave this a little bit loose and then it sets off the check engine light because the cap's not tightened all the way. So you don't have to worry about that anymore. But when I was showing you where the jack and the accessories are, right next to them there was a small funnel. If you were to run out of gas, you would need that funnel to be able to push in here to be able to pour gas into it. So that's what that funnel's for, which it'll give you a little bit of knowledge on that right there too. So gas cap. Second row. So you can see I had it pushed and leaned way back, and that's why I wouldn't go all the way down. But you can get the filling, and you'll see it over there. That's what it looks like. And it lays pretty darn flat. You just got that little bitty lip right there. So leather interior in my EX-L model. I've got the flip down center deal. You get that in the EX also, but not leather. And then I've got 2 USBs back here along with air vents. So that's kind of nice to have if you have kiddos or dogs. In your EX-L model, you do get more speakers in your car as far as, I believe, wattage too. So you're going to have tweeters here along with speakers down in the bottom there, and then speakers in the front and speaker tweeters up there, which I'll point out more here when we go. Floorboards are always this charcoal black finish along with your door sills. And you notice that runs throughout any car, any color to prevent glare, along with preventing dirt from showing. So tweeters you can see here, it's got this wood grain finish, which I really like. I think it looks nice. And then you'll see the leather here. If I was changing colors of the interior of this car, which this car only comes in one interior, but let's say I was on a white model or a gray model that offered a gray interior and a black, that would change out to black, this would change out to black. So the floorboards and the door sills are always that same color black. All right, so window sticker, I always like to kind of run through this real quick with people. Got a little bit of a glare here, but we'll see if we can show you most of it here. So 190 horsepower, 4-cylinder engine. You can see most of it here. There we go. Disc wheel brakes, McPherson front struts. That stuff's all the same. 6 airbags in the car as far as safety goes. Leather trimmed and wrapped. That's going to be the EX-L. Cross-traffic monitoring, I'll go over here in a second. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is in this car. So if you want to be able to plug in your phone and pull up your phone's navigation, along with several other apps, that's in this car. A couple USBs in the front and a couple USBs in the back. 12-way powered seat on your front. And then you have a 4-way powered seat over there. So that's part of getting an EX-L. And then, yeah, a 1-inch larger wheel. A little bit stronger audio system. So general kind of stuff. Your MSRP, $31,145, and that's after the destination of $1,095, which Honda charges to deliver to the dealership. So that's what your MSRP that you should be starting from is if you were looking to purchase this car. So if you're seeing a higher number or a way lower number, they're probably leaving something out. What you're getting in the city, what you're getting on the highway, and then combined right there. And then, you know, just some general details, 5-star overall crash rating, your breakdown of that. So you can see you got a couple 4s here, but mostly all 5s. So that is kind of the quick rundown to the outside of the car. So let's go ahead and hop in, but I want to show you how the remote start works, since it has it. So to use remote start, you always got to press the lock button first to make sure the doors are locked, and then press and hold that remote start button, which you can see right there. It'll then fire up the car and run for 10 minutes. I can press that same sequence again and run it for an additional 10, so then it would run for 20 minutes total. So to start, press the lock and then press and hold this button right there. If I wanted to turn it off, I could press the unlock button and the remote start button. Now we turn the car off. So keyless entry, when I walk up, I can just put my hand on the door handle and it'll unlock for me. There's 3 little ridges right here I can press and it'll lock the doors too. So when I get out, I don't have to touch anything other than that or this. So getting in, touch this, it unlocks it. Press this, it locks it, right? So let me put my hand back on it again and unlock it. Okay, so let's crank her up and show you a couple things. Throw my foot on the brake, press the start button here. All right, so a couple features I'll point out right here. The first, which is different from the EX, is that powered tailgate that I mentioned. So you have a button here to be able to do it from inside of the car. So that's where the control is, along with off the clicker. Road departure mitigation is right here. So if this is on, which when I turn it on, you'll see it let me know. What that is if I drive off the shoulder of the road, it'll give me an audible alert to let me know that I'm doing that, and then it'll start to shake the wheel to be like, hey, wake up, pay attention. So part of your Honda sensing suite. Next one is collision mitigation braking. This one is always running. So this is unlike this one where I'm turning it on and off. This is always running unless I press and hold to turn it off. What this is if it's looking like I'm gonna hit another car in front of me, it'll give me an audible alert, it'll give me a visual alert, and then it'll apply the brakes to the car to help prevent the accident. So collision mitigation braking. Vehicle stability assist works with traction control. In the event that you're gonna go into a skid, it'll just help transfer power to whichever wheel is getting better traction. So things I'll point out on the door that are a little bit different. First one is your tweeters that pop up here, so you won't see that on your EX and your LX model. And the second is you have memory seating in this car, so one of those extra additions you get as far as getting the EX-L model. So, hey Justin, I'm paying this $2 extra grand to move from an EX to an EX-L. What am I getting? These are some more of the things. How to set this? Press the set button, you'll see them start flashing. Get your seat set to how you want it, and then press and hold the button. So not hard, right? Press and hold. Now one is set up to how I have it set. On the back of your key, I will point out, I have a big sticker on this one, but on the back, it'll say driver run right here, which will correlate, obviously, with that, and then some of the other settings you can set as far as the door locks and different features in the car. So we went over that. Door and window setup, I feel like this is pretty self-explanatory. Your window controls, your door locks, and your mirror controls are right there. We went through these 4 buttons right here. Okay, and then I pointed out earlier your gas and your hood releaser right there. So close that and go over some stuff on the steering wheel. So your Bluetooth controls are right here. So to answer a call, to hang up or go back, and then your voice command, press and hold. If you tap this, it'll pull up Honda's options and walk you through. If I already have my phone connected up and I wanted to use, I will say, all right, Googs, because if I say the real one, it'll set off my phone, or Apple CarPlay, I could use this and get to Siri. So just press and hold till you hear the beep, and then you would have access to those. So then I could be like, hey Siri, give me directions to this. Hey Siri, send a text to this person. Hey Siri, what's the nearest Starbucks, whatever it may be. The I button right here is an info button. So this changes my menus out here. So I got tripometer information right here. If I want to jump over one more, I've got an alertness monitor. So when I'm using all the Honda sensing features, I'm not really touching the wheel a whole lot. I'm not touching the gas and the brake. At a point, this will go off to just make sure, hey, what are you doing? Are you still paying attention? That's the purpose of that. This is going to be pop up my oil life, so that way I can see there. When I get down to 15%, it'll give me an audible and a visual alert to let me know. And it'll throw a code at me, A1, A2, B1, B2. And that's to let you know what they're going to recommend when you go in. So you can Google it and it'll tell it to, it'll tell you the answer. Or you could look up in your manual and it'll tell you the two. Honda's been doing this forever, so it's readily available to you on the internet. Moving over one more, my audio, so I can access that right here. Let me turn it on here real quick. That way you can see, bam, KVET popped up, so local radio station here in Austin, Texas. So you can see the artwork appears there along with over here too. What's cool and I like about this is you see the arrows to the left and right of KVET right there. If I press these arrows over here, it'll jump between my favorite stations. So anything I have set up. So I don't have the presets set up, but you can see that it's toggling through over here too. So it's just kind of cool when you have them set up, it'll jump through automatically for you and it'll pull across, you know, call letters and call signs and stuff like that. So easier to figure out and just a little bit more visual and big so you can see it. So you don't have to be looking over here. You can keep your eyes more towards the road. All right, so volume controls while I'm on that, because I'm going to turn the volume down. I can do it right here, and you'll see it to let me know. Or I've got a volume knob over here if I want to use that. So that's the left side of the steering wheel. The right side of the steering wheel has two more additional Honda sensing features. So we talked about road departure mitigation, and we talked about the collision mitigation braking system. These next two start off this button. So if I press the main button, you see ACC and LKS come on. So that's what's flashing up there right now at me. Right? So actually, while I'm doing this, I'm going to back up, get out of this glare, because I'm in a little bit of a glare here. Maybe you'll be able to see. While I'm doing that though, hey, backup camera. I've got dynamic guidelines, so when I cut, you can see the wheel cuts with me. And then I've got 3 different views. So when I get really close to this car, you can see I can back up and see just exactly how close I'm getting. So that way I know before I hit them. And then I can switch back over to my other view. And I can move the car out of the way. So that is your tutorial on the backup camera, since I'm here and I'm available to do it. So, all right, backup camera. All right, so lane keep assist and adaptive cruise control. So when this button is on, you see the ACC and the LKS come up here. So the first one is lane keep assist. Press this button, you see some dotted lines appear. So I'm gonna make those flash at us so you can see where they're at. What that does is it uses a camera up in this box right here to detect the lines down on the road. When you're going over 45 miles an hour, it will now have the ability to activate. When it activates, these dotted lines will fill in solid. When they're filled in solid, if the car starts to go to the left or right and drift a little bit out of the lane, it will actually correct and keep you centered. If you use your blinkers, it will not prevent you from getting over. If you don't use your blinkers, you're probably not going to like this feature that much. But what it's set up for is so that I don't accidentally start to drift to my left or the right. If I'm distracted by my coffee, my dog, my cat, most likely my phone, that's what this is set up for. Obviously, it's just an additional safety feature to make sure we're keeping people in the car safe. Obviously, we want you to focus on the road, but we understand that life has distractions. The next one, over off of lane keep assist, is going to be your adaptive cruise control. So if you just want classic cruise, you're saying, hey Justin, this car has a lot of bells and whistles, just give me a classic cruise. Press and hold here. Bam, cruise mode selected. Now I'm using classic cruise control. Hit set, hit cancel, hit resume. Increase my speed with the plus symbol. Decrease my speed with the minus symbol. If you want to use adaptive cruise control, so what the difference is, with adaptive cruise control, I'm going to turn it on to show you. Let's say I get up to my speed. I press set. Now it's holding my speed, and you can see where it would show me a speed. It says ACC off, which I can zoom in, but it's not really that important. But once I get up to my speed, I'm going 65 down the road, and I come up on a car who's going 55. Normally, I would have to hit cancel or decrease my speed and keep playing with buttons. If I have adaptive cruise control on, I can press this button right here, and you'll see boxes start to appear right there. When I press this button, the more boxes, the more space it's going to keep between me and the car in front of me. So what that means is if I'm going 65, I got all the boxes set. When I come up on that car, it's going to slow me down, keep whatever designated space I pick using those boxes and this button, and then I'm going to hold that spacing. Now, if that car gets over and out of my way, I will go back up to my designated speed until I come up on the next car, and it'll keep that designated spacing. So that's the point of adaptive cruise control. It's pretty common now, I feel like, in a lot of vehicles. You just see it more in luxury lines, I think, than you do base. I won't say non-luxuries, I guess is what I'd call that. So that's what adaptive cruise control is, and I have access to both. Now over here, I've got my lighting controls. So set it to auto. Fog light controls, pretty easy to understand. The right side is my stalk as far as controlling my windshield wiper blades. So the fronts and then the backs control off the tip of the blinker stalk here. So not much to explain there. Moving over to your touchscreen. This comes in the EX model and above as far as the touchscreen layout goes. So if you go down a model, you still have this. Don't worry about that in case you're saying, hey, I just can't swing the pricing or the payments or whatever it may be. Audio-wise on the car, the options you have If I press the source button up here, FM, AM, 90 days of satellite radio for free, and then afterwards be up to you if you want to start a membership with them. USBs, my USB layout is a little bit different in this car. You'll see that they're both right here and they're lit up, which is kind of nice. So another feature that's a little bit different in this car, if you're looking at 2019 to 2020, what are the differences? So, hey, Justin, I'm thinking about getting a 2019 to save some extra money. Well, know that these are just going to be presented to you just a little bit differently as far as where they are and how they're presented, as far as having one here versus two versus having one of those in here. The center console is also going to be a little bit different if you're looking at a 19. So this flips like this. So that's a little bit different. Your 2019 will also not have the idle start-stop available to you. So meaning when I come to a complete stop at a light and I'm sitting in traffic, it can turn the engine off but keep the remainder of the car on for me and run. So it just helps as far as gas mileage goes. So if you're looking at a 2020, know that you're not going to have these features, or they're going to be presented to you differently if you're moving down to that 2019. So just something to be aware of. So satellite radio, USBs that I can plug into, iPods I can connect up, Bluetooth I can connect up to 6 different devices to a vehicle. It's Pandora compatible. If you use Spotify, you can either use the Bluetooth symbol, or if you want to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, connect your phone into the USB. Press this button right here when it lights up and says either one, whichever one applies to you per your phone if you use a Apple or Android device. If you're an Android user, you do have to download the app, which is 100% free, but it will give you access to your navigation. So whether you want Waze, Google Maps, Apple Maps, all three are available on Apple users. The only one not available on Android users is Apple Maps, which I don't think you're going to want anyway. You'll also have access to, the WhatsApp app, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartMedia. A lot of different apps are available, and they seem to keep adding. So there's going to be more than I'll remember to say. So take advantage of that. A lot of people like this because of that. It gives you access to navigation without paying for navigation or updates or any of those other things you necessarily don't want to deal with. Your phone, as far as connecting up, if you've never connected a phone up, it'll prompt you to do so right here. If you're connecting up a second phone, it's not going to bring up that. You'll need to hit the settings button here. And then you're going to want to go to Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, because you want to add something to that list, the Bluetooth and device list, which is that second one down. From here, you'll see that you can add 6 devices to the car. To add one, press that button right there. So that's how you add devices. Now, under settings, there are a couple other features I like to point out. They're all under vehicle right here, and this is related to your door locks and a couple things. So I just point these out because if you bought the car, these are things you're going to want to know. So I'm going to scroll down here to door and window and just point out that your auto door locks. So this means that when I get up to 10 miles an hour, right now the car is going to automatically lock the doors for me. So this feature is currently on. If you want to change it, it's right there. Now, when you're getting out of the car, auto door unlock. So when I open my driver's side door, it's going to then unlock the remaining doors of the car. So if you want to turn that off or change it, this is where you would do so. And then lastly, I'm going to show you one more feature that I think is important, which is the walkaway auto lock right here. This is off unless you turn it on. So the default is to be off, something to keep in mind. What this feature is if I get out of the car, I walk 10 feet away, I have the keys in my pocket, it'll automatically lock the doors for me. So if you get halfway into the grocery store and you go, crap, I don't know if I locked it, but I know that I left my laptop in it, this is a feature you're going to want on, because the minute you hit 10 feet from the car, it will lock the doors. Not assuming, when the keys are not in the car. So just something to be aware of. It's a really cool feature. I like turning it on. So those three are under settings. And then from there, I go to vehicle. And there's several other features here you can play with, but those were all under door and window. So just so you know where they're at. And you can mess with the lighting setup and a lot of other things. But I just want to point out the three that I think are kind of the big three. You do have a dimmer, so if you want to dim the screen, you can absolutely do so. That's what this button is right here. Turning your audio on and off can be done so right there. So I just want to make sure you know that that is there. So that's kind of the rundown of the touchscreen. Your AC controls, you can control off the screen. So if I want to press the climate button, I can control them all from right here, or I can do so just using the buttons and the knobs. So not hard to mess with. The only thing I don't like about this car is when you crank it up, when the initial car starts, because it takes a minute for the screen to load, you can't do it from the screen. So you can do some of it from the buttons. You can get the air going, you can crank up the air, but you won't be able to necessarily turn it to AC mode on. So it's my one knock on this car that I don't like, because it gets really hot in the summers in Texas. Your heated seats are right here. So controls are right there for passenger and driver's side. Parking brake is electronic. Just put your foot on the brake and lift up to set it. When you do so, you'll get an indicator down here in red letting you know it's set when I release it. So push down on this to release it. So it's just like a handbrake. You pull up and you push down. Brake hold is set to where if I'm in stop and go traffic, I have to have my seatbelt on, but I can have the car in drive, allowing it to hold the brake for me while the car's in drive, and I don't have to keep my foot on the brake, which is probably the most confusing explanation I've just ever given. So let's put the car in drive and I'll just show you. So car's in drive, I turn the brake hold button on. So it says brake hold right there. When it's holding, it'll give me that second box down here saying hold. So what my foot's on the brake right now. I release my foot while the car's in drive. We're not moving. I want to move forward, push my foot on the gas, it releases it. I move forward my 2 feet because I'm stopping traffic. The minute I come to a hold again, it'll show me the hold button again. We're in drive, I release my foot, we're holding. So if you're using this feature, but let's say you're using it and you come up into a drive-through, first thing most people do is they roll down their window, they can't reach the ATM for the bank, or the person handing them their food, they undo their seat, which disengages this program. The minute it does that though, we have a feature built in. It's going to automatically set your parking brake for you so that you don't roll into that car in front of you. So just a cool feature that it has. Know that this is available while you're using it. So I'm going to shift back into there and turn my parking brake off. So that is how brake hold works. Idle start stop I mentioned earlier. This is new to the 2020 model. If I want to disengage this, I have to press this and you'll see disabled. Every time I start the car, if I want this turned off, I'm going to have to press that button. So something to keep in mind. I'm not a huge fan of the idle start stop because I feel like there's a lag sometimes, but I haven't tried out the CRV that much. And I have noticed over the years that lag when you're using it, when you're at a stoplight and you press gas, how fast it can click on and go has gotten much smaller than in the last 5-10 years. So just something to keep in mind. I would say if you're test driving and that's something you're concerned about, drive it and check this out, because I did have people mention that in the Pilot, which they've had it in the Pilot for a few years. Econ button will improve the gas mileage of the car. In doing so, you'll see a green leaf pop on when you turn it on. It'll affect things like the AC unit and the accelerator as far as what relates to you, but it shuts down some of the electrical systems in the front of the car, affecting those things to improve gas mileage. So we went over the USBs, we went over the cup holders, we went over how this releases a little bit differently now, so you can just see it. You do have another power outlet in there if you need to go like your classic setup. So interior wise of this car is a gray interior. You'll see the black finishes on the top, as I mentioned, are always going to remain black. The only thing that changes as you change the interior color is your door panels and your seating, and then of course right here. So this is a 2020. It does have the auto dimming mirror. That's part of what you're paying for to move up that EXL. That's part of that $2,000. You do have home link in this car, so you can connect garage clicker, gate clicker, all that. This is going to be in all of the cars, but it's just a a mirror along with your sunglass holder. You do have lit vanities, and then you do have, of course, a moonroof, which I won't open, but the buttons to do so are right here, just so you know. So that's your 2020 model. Oh, something I almost forgot. It does have blind spot monitoring, so I will point that out. So right here will light up, the indicator will light up anytime the blind spots, somebody's in your blind spot, and if you start to get over, it'll give you an audible alert in the car to let you know. So that's on both mirrors. So you have that available to you. That is in your EX model and above. And then when you were backing up, I didn't point this out only because a car wasn't coming, but I do have cross-traffic monitoring. So if somebody's coming from the left or the right, when I'm trying to back out of a spot, it'll give me an audible alert and show me arrows. So another feature that's super great, whether you're an elderly driver, new driver, or just not a good driver, because I hate to admit it, I sell cars, or I used to sell cars, and I'm not that great of a driver. I know that. So take advantage of these safety features. Use them because you got them. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. Comment on the YouTube video. I'm pretty good about getting back. I check it almost every day. You can call me if you want or text me, 737-443-9555. Do me one favor before you go. Press the like button. Maybe hit the subscribe button. Do me that favor and enjoy the video.